Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, you guys had a good week 3. As always, if you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, NFL content, whole bunch of content. They all go on Reddit. I'll have that link down below. You can talk to me leading up to lock about the slate, or if you just want to say what's up, I'll have that link down below. If you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on X here. I'll have that link down below. And then lastly, if you're looking for more in-depth content where I give you guys player pools with cash cores, GPP cores, and large field GPP cores, followed by a private video explaining what stacks I like, who to be overweight, underweight to, where I think ownership's going to go and stuff like that, I will have my Discord link down below. Alright, so let's go over my results from week 3. Had a really good week 3. I think I had like $500 or so in entry fees, came out with like $250 profit or so. Did cash in cash games on afternoon main, and then GPPs was just like okay. So we do go over my results each week so you can see if I'm a winning player or not. As always, if you want to see my career results for last season and my career NFL results, you can go to week 1. I think it's extremely important to have transparency, which unfortunately with 90% of people in this industry, there is none. So that's why I try to do it, is because it's very, very important to me that you guys are getting content from someone that you know is beating these games, right? So this was my GPPs. I played the stacks that I was really high on. Mariota by himself, Drake May by himself. This lineup would have done great if CeeDee Lamb didn't get injured. That was unfortunate. I bubbled with Lamb. I played Herbert, I liked, and then Dak Prescott, who I liked. So GPPs lost a little bit. Afternoon cash here, and then main slate cash here. I did fade Christian McCaffrey, did not feel good, but getting up to saving the money with Jonathan Taylor did work out. Did sacrifice a little bit of projection there to do that. I just really like those upper mid-range wide receivers last week. So, all right. I've tried to make this video 4 times right now. I've spent about an hour trying to make this video, so I'm going to fly through this. Alright, so we're going to go player by player. We'll talk about who's viable in a cash game setting, and we'll talk about tournament stuff, maybe ownership if I remember what people are projecting for right now, and stuff like that. My throat's cooked because I've been talking for over an hour trying to record this video. Wild stuff. Alright, let's start with Washington. So we'll see what the Mariota ownership comes in at this week. If he is going to be chalky once again, last week I was more okay with it. This week I'm fine fading if he's really, really popular. He is a good candidate for this offense. Like, he is the perfect backup for this offense. But now he's going into a spot that's really, really bad for him. And you're also missing Terry McLaurin here. So if he's chalk, I'd like to be underweight to Mario this week. I still will have him in my player pool. He can obviously get it done with his legs. I just don't like the spot. I think the ownership will be right. We'll see, though. We'll see. If it comes in lower, I'm more inclined to play him. I'm not going to the running backs. I think if I'm playing Debo, it's mainly with just Mariota or Mariota naked, and I think Zach Ertz is a good tight end punt option this week if you do need that. As far as cash game plays, I think Mariota is a good cash game quarterback this week. I don't think I'll be getting to anything else in cash games, though. Moving on to Atlanta, I'm going to say no to Michael Penix this week, unfortunately. I think Bijan's a good play at 8.2. He's always going to be a good play week in, week out. There's no need to talk about and analyze it. He's going to be somewhat popular. It's okay. I think this week it's just okay. Due to the price points with the other running backs and the slate in general as a whole, it's tough to spend up this week. So we'll see. I think there are better running back plays personally to me. And then I really like Drake London at 5.7K. I think he might get squeezed a little bit. I think people are tired of him. I like the spot. Really, really like Drake London as a tournament play this week. And then as far as tight end goes, Pitts is just mid to me, just playable. And then as far as cash games go, Bijan's always playable, but I'm not going to go there in cash. I think London, even though like more of a tournament play this week, I do think is a pretty good play in cash. He'll probably be ownership doesn't matter in cash. I don't know what his ownership's going to be in cash, but I just don't think people want to play him in a cash game setting. But I am more than okay playing Drake London just at this price point in cash this week. So I do like some Drake London in cash in GPPs if you want to go there. I think I'll probably be going there more so in tournaments, but I do think he's good in cash if you want to go there. Moving on to the Saints, so I'm not going to get Rattler in my pool. I'm not going to get the running backs in my pool. But we have to talk about Chris Olave. So he has an absurd target market share so far through 3 weeks. He is just absolutely dominating targets for this team. They're just pretty much only throwing him the ball, throwing Olave the ball and Juwan Johnson the ball. So like, take a look. Juwan Johnson, 12.98, and then just absurdity for Chris Olave here, 14, 10, 12. So yeah, Olave, one of the best point per dollar wide receiver options on the slate. Great in cash games. Like I said, I'm not playing Rattler. I think Olave is a great one-off option. I am a little bit worried how high that ownership is going to get, but they are going to be playing from behind. I think he's great if you want to go there. And then Juwan, definitely solid at tight end this week. So Juwan's playable in cash if you want to go there, and then Olave is great. So then we get to a good tournament option. I will have Josh Allen in my pool. I think everyone's going to spend down at quarterback this week, which makes spending up a quarterback this week at lower ownership a little bit interesting. You'll differentiate yourself from the field, right? Great spot here for Josh Allen. They are like over 2-score favorites, which worries me a little bit, but he can get it done on the ground. He doesn't have to throw the ball 40 plus times to nuke the slate, right? Rushing upside, touchdown upside. So I think Josh Allen's great in tournaments. It also leverages you a little bit off James Cook chalk. Now, I'm fine playing James Cook and Josh Allen together as well, but this is just such a good spot for James Cook here. Huge favorites, playing the most volume he's ever played in his career, 60+% of the snaps. Great spot, favorites, amazing. I'm glad I have a lot in best ball. So really like James Cook, really like Josh Allen in tournaments. The problem with stacking Josh Allen is who are you going to stack him with? I think Coleman would be my preferred choice, or Kincaid. As far as cash game plays, I do have Josh viable, but I think I want to spend down a quarterback this week in cash. And then James Cook is obviously great, but I'd rank him below some other running backs that we'll get to in a little bit. Moving on to Cleveland, I'll make this quick. This isn't the spot this week for Jukins. We'll get to play him eventually, but this isn't the spot for me. I think Tillman's a good punt on the slate. I do like Tillman, just so much throwing volume going to this team, and he's playing pretty much all the snaps. So I do like Cedric Tillman at 4.2K, which you need to save money on the slate somewhere, and I do like Njoku. No cash game plays on the Cleveland side. Moving on to Detroit, I don't love Goff this week, but I do like Jahmyr Gibbs. Not a good spot here for Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think the field is going to recognize that. I think people are going to be scared to play Gibbs going up against the Browns this week. But I am under the assumption that Gibbs is just so good that the matchup isn't going to matter too much, and they should be playing from ahead. And he's playing 60 to 65% of the snaps, which is, once again, more than he's played in his entire career. So Gibbs, really good tournament play to me. Not going to get to Montgomery. Sun God, the wide receivers, they're just fine. They're just there. And then Laporta, I like at 4.4K. No cash game plays for me personally here on the Detroit side. All right, moving on to Tennessee. We can basically just cross this team off, personally. I do like Tony Pollard, though, at 5.6K. Just really good role, playing all the snaps, involved in the passing game, just hasn't done much with it. Ownership will be really low. So I do like Tony Pollard in tournaments. No cash game plays there. All right, I've been deciding all day what I want to do with C.J. Stroud. I think I'm going to include him in my pool, but I don't know if I'm going to be playing him in like my 5-back stuff. But I do like him in large field tournaments. I think this is a good buy low spot for this team in Houston going up against Tennessee. Like, you're not going to get Nico Collins lower owned. Him and Ladd McConkey, I think, are good 2 tournament plays this week. Obviously, I prefer Ladd McConkey, but I think Nico is a great tournament play, and I think Dalton Schultz is fine. Running back Nick Chubb is playable. And yeah, I'll have Stroud in my pool. I just don't know if I'm specifically playing him yet, but I do like it in large field tournaments. No cash game plays for me. Moving on to Carolina, I'm going to be passing on Bryce Young this week. I'm going to be passing on the running backs this week. And I do like McMillan. My only concern is the injury in Gonzalez coming back for the Patriots, but I do like him. I don't know if I'm going to get there in cash. And then I'm not going to get to the tight ends. No cash game plays here. And I'm not including Bryce Young in my pool. Let me take a sip of water. Sorry, guys. My throat is just cooked. All right, moving on to the Patriots. You guys know I am a huge Drake May supporter. So once again this week, I am a huge Drake May guy. Now, 5.5K has rushing upside. It's been a tough spot so far this year going up against Carolina, but I still think he's way too cheap. So I'm really high on Drake May. I think Henderson's a little bit interesting in tournaments. I know they came out today saying they weren't going to punish Ramondre Stevenson, but we got to think, like, after those fumbles in week 3, Henderson got 100%, 90+% of the snaps. Now, that's not going to happen again. What I think happens here is it's probably a 50-50 split with the upside to playing more. in a good spot going up against Carolina at 0 ownership. So if this was the spot to play Henderson more, I think it's it. As favorites at home going up against Carolina. So I'll say Henderson's a little bit interesting in large field tournaments. You just have to know it's not going to work out more often than not. And then if I'm playing May, I'm probably playing with Henry or just playing him naked, right? And then cash game plays. I think Drake May is one of the better quarterback options for cash this week, personally. All right, moving on to the Chargers. One of my favorite teams to target on the slate. I love Justin Herbert this week. The Giants cannot stop anyone. Them, Dallas, Chicago, just been terrible defensively. I love Herbert doubles this week. Amari and Hampton, one of the best running back plays in the slate, going to be extremely popular, but it's a really good spot. I love Lab McConkey in tournaments. I think he's one of the best tournament options on the slate. I think if you want to go to Quentin Johnson, that's good. I'm surprised Keenan Allen's not getting more ownership. I love all three. And then if you want to go to anyone at tight end, I think Gadsden's a little bit interesting at 2.6K. Really, really good real-life football player. He just needs to get more snaps. He's their best option. You still have no Will Dissly. So I think Gadsden's really interesting in tournaments. I love this entire Chargers team. There's ways to get different on it. There's ways to eat chalk on it. There's good cash game plays. You have a double stack that looks great. I am in love with this Chargers team this week. And as far as cash game plays, if you want to go to Herbert, I think that's okay. Hampton, probably going to be in my cash game lineup. And then Keenan Allen, of course, is playable if you want to go there. Moving on to the Giants here. So Jackson Dart, I'm fine with him in tournaments. I think if you're playing cash, you can absolutely go there as well. I'm definitely okay with Dart. He'll be in my pool. No Tyron Tracy. I do think Singletary is going to mix in, so it's not going to be Scadabo getting like 80+% of the snaps. I think it'll be closer to like that 60-40 range. Going up against the Chargers, good pass catcher as well. They should be playing from behind, so I like Scadabo. He'll be properly owned though, but I think he's good. Neighbors, I'm more so going to play in Jackson Dart stacks. You could play Dart naked, but I think I'm more inclined to play Neighbors. They've been stressing to get Neighbors the ball, etc., etc., etc. Not a good spot, though. And then I'm not going to get too much tight ends here. So cash game start, good cash game quarterback. And Scadabo, if you need a cheap running back, good in cash games as well. Alright, last set of games, guys. Let's go this way. Another game I am really, really high on in GPPs this week is this game. More so the Raiders side, but really like Caleb Williams. Obviously has rushing upside. Good spot going up against the Raiders. Not too high on the running backs, but I love Rome. Undisputed wide receiver 1 on this team. Like the spot. He has a big ceiling. They will target him downfield. So Rome, count me in. DJ Moore is playable. Burden's too pricey at this point. I believe Loveland's going to play, so that hurts Komet a little bit. We'll see. He is listed questionable, but he did practice. Not going to go to him or either of the tight ends if they're both in. So, like Caleb Williams, and I like Rome. And then cash games, I don't think I'm going to get too much, but Rome will be playable. And Caleb Williams, of course, is viable. Like, if you have the salary to play Caleb Williams in cash over like a Drake May or something, sure, go for it. I think it's close between both, straight up even. But if you want to do it, I wouldn't hate you for it. Moving on to the Raiders, I love this team. Geno Smith at 5.4K, and one of the best matchups you could possibly get. We know he's not scared to air it out. I really like the wide receiver options. This is a really good spot for Ashton Jeanty. I think he's a good play that people are going to underplay this week. Wide receivers, I love Jacoby. I love Trey Tucker. They're pretty much on the field for 100% of the snaps. Brock Bowers, it depends on his ownership for me, but if he is going to come in under him because they're scared of his injury, I am more inclined to play him. No Michael Mayer, right? Great spot going up against Chicago. So we'll see what Bowers' ownership is. If he comes in low this week, I love him in tournaments. If he's going to be chalky, then I think you can get away from it. Cash game plays. So yeah, I think both Jacoby and Tucker are great in cash. I think I'm spending down at tight end this week. Alright, moving on to Baltimore. So I think Lamar is my least favorite of like the top guys in Lamar, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts. But if you want to play him, I'm not going to say no. He's always viable every single week for me. I hate Derrick Henry this week. Bad spot for him. Everyone else is just like mad at me. Mark Andrews is fine. And then we get to another stack that I really like, and that's Patrick Mahomes. I think Baltimore's finally going to have to push the Chiefs, even though they're 1-2. Like, the games have been close, low-scoring games. I think this game will be higher scoring. The Ravens' defense hasn't been as good as people thought it was going to be, so it's a good spot here. And I like some tournament plays here, so really high on Patrick Mahomes. I will say no to the running backs. I love Xavier Worthy in tournaments. I think he's another one of the better tournament options on the slate. I think he's 100% full go here. He's their clear wide receiver one in a good spot. You have Patrick Mahomes throwing to him, so sign me up. Love Worthy in tournaments. And I think Travis Kelce is another really good tight end option. All right, Jaguars, make this quick. Nope, nope, nope. Brian Thomas, you want to go there, sure. And then Britton Strange, probably the ideal punt tight end on the slate for cast that I think people are going to go to. Tournament's good as well. San Francisco, I'm passing on Brock Purdy. We don't have to talk about Christian McCaffrey. If you're playing cash, play him. Great in tournaments. Purcell depends on Jennings. If Jennings is out, I absolutely love Purcell. Could be great in cash and GPPs. And that's it for me. So cash, it really depends, but just play Christian McCaffrey. If Jennings is out, I really like Purcell. Colts, another stack that I like. I like Daniel Jones at 5.6K. I like Pittman. I like Mitchell. I like Downs is cooked, right? I think Mitchell is going to play a ton of snaps in this game. So sign me up. I think a good punt on this slate. Definitely into Pittman. I think Tyler Warren's good. Jonathan Taylor, not a good spot here going up against the Rams, but playing 90% of the snaps. Just probably the best role at running back in the league right now. Definitely good. So, yeah, cash games. Daniel Jones, probably not, but JT definitely good, and then Warren, if you want to go there, is fine. All right, last three teams here, guys. I'm probably not into Matthew Stafford too much. I think Kyron's good. It's just too cheap of a price point. Now, he isn't going to play 65+% of the snaps. Corum is always going to mix in, but the role is still good for Kyron. Wide receiver, Puka, phenomenal. If you're playing cash, just play him. Just play Puka till you die. Devontae Adams is going to be extremely popular. If you're playing cash, a great cash option. You can play Puka and Devontae Adams together if you wanted to. Even in GPPs if you wanted to as well. But I think at that point, like Stafford, if they're both nuking, Stafford's getting there as well. So just be a little bit careful there. But Puka, Adams projecting as two of the best wide receiver plays on the board. And I kind of agree with it. If you're worried about the Adams injury, then go for it. They're just not throwing the ball to anyone else besides Puka and Devontae Adams. They're not throwing it to the running backs. They're not throwing it to the tight ends. The target contention with these two is just unheard of out of any other wide receiver room in the NFL. So great. Cash games, Puka, play him. Devontae Adams is great as well. All right, then we get to Jalen Hurts, who I like quite a bit this week. It's just like, can Tampa Bay keep this competitive? They have a ton of injuries they're dealing with, right? Baker's dealing with injury, no Mike Evans. You have Chris Godwin coming back. I believe they're also dealing with some injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Just be a little bit careful there, but I think the Eagles come out and I think they throw the ball. I think after what you saw last week, they have to, right? Obviously, you have the tush push, touchdown upside, so definitely into Hurts. Saquon's fine, no strong takes there. Good low end option. Now, the Bucks, they blitz a ton, which is going to help Jalen Hurts rushing. It's also going to help A.J. Brown. So, like A.J. Brown in tournaments. And then I do think Dallas Goedert is one of the better low tight end options on this slate. So, I'm definitely into Dallas Goedert. And then on the Bucks side, no. Not the spot for me dealing with the injuries at all either. My favorite play would be Bucky Irving. Eagles haven't been as good as people thought they were going to be against the run this year so far. So, like Bucky, involved in the passing game as well. All right, quick cash core for you guys, and then I'm going to head out of here. This doesn't mean I'm going to play this, guys, but for now, it's like these four. I'm going to take May out. Like, this right here is straightforward. I think if you're playing cash this week and you don't have these three, you're definitely doing it wrong, right? So I'll start with these three, and then maybe you get to like Drake May or one of the other punt quarterbacks on the slate. So, all right, that's going to do it, guys. Hopefully you have a good week. I will be over on Reddit.